it's Naya. Welcome back to Naya Reason Smiles. Hello everybody! Okay, so today I have my June wrap up. I had an amazing reading month this entire month. Like, I don't know why, but I have just been super into thrillers lately. I've also been watching a lot of thriller-y shows, so I don't know if just like the thriller vibe is in the air right now. Let me know down below if you've read any good thriller books this month, because I am just on a roll with all of this like horror, psychological thriller stuff right now. So I read 3 books and half of an audiobook, which I would have finished the entire audiobook if Scribd did not remove the book from my library. I also mentioned this in my previous video, but I've also been binge watching Teen Wolf right now. I thought I'd throw that in there. But for everyone who's a big Teen Wolf fan, like, did you guys ever notice that every single episode it seems like it's the full moon? I did when I was 13 and I was watching it, I didn't like kind of put 2 and 2 together, but now that I'm older and I'm watching the series again, I've realized that literally every other episode they're like, it's almost the full moon, it's almost the full moon. Anyways, before we get into the books, today I have a sponsor. Thank you so much to my friends over at Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning platform for creators. They have over 28,000 classes taught by professionals in just about every field. Like, if you're interested in photography or videography, I like to watch their videography editing videos so I can better my videography skills. They have writing videos, which are amazing. I've also talked about their bullet journal videos for anyone who's into bullet journaling. They have graphic design videos. They have business courses, like anything you can think of. Subscription to Skillshare is super affordable. It's less than $10 a month and you get access to hundreds upon thousands of classes. So yeah, if you're interested in Skillshare, there will be a link down below in the description, and the first 500 people to sign up will get 2 months free, so go check it out. Okay, getting into the books that I read in the month of June, you guys. We're gonna start with the best one because I was shook. 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. If you don't know, Liane Moriarty wrote Big Little Lies, which is currently adapted to a TV series, and the 2nd season just came out. I definitely have to go back and read Big Little Lies now, even though I've already started the show and love it, and it's amazing. This is an adult thriller book, so just a little warning out there, it does have some explicit content. The premise of this book is that there's this kind of controversial health resort or health retreat, and there's this woman who like created this questionable retreat, and she is a woman who used to be a CEO of a huge company, had a near-death experience, was rescued by this paramedic, and decided to completely turn her life around. Basically went from one end of the spectrum to the other. She went from being extremely unhealthy, just caught up in the corporate world, and then after this near-death experience she becomes super healthy, like raw smoothies, to the point where she ends up leaving her job and opening this health retreat, like way in the, I don't know which part specifically of Australia, but somewhere where there's not a lot of people. It's really far off the grid. The first character, who is pretty much almost like the main character in this book, is this 40-year-old super hilarious romance writer. She's one of those authors who started writing romance in the 80s, so all of her books are being criticized now for being like problematic. So she goes on this retreat because she's just having all these health problems and stresses because her romance writing career is going down. We're following a family of 3, a 20-year-old girl and a mother and a father whose relationship is strained. This super rich lawyer we're following as well. And then we have this couple who won the lottery and basically went from being poor to super rich. When they got all that money, it was kind of like the curse of the lottery, so they just started getting all these problems, so they decided to go to this health retreat. And then lastly, we're following this retired rugby player. Is he a rugby player or a football player? I'm not sure, but he used to be like a huge sports person. He just got a bunch of injuries and he's hoping to like get healed at this retreat. We have a full colorful cast of characters and they're all at this retreat. It's a very slow buildup of suspense, you know, like you start reading the book and really what propels you through the beginning is the characters. They're so interesting and you're in their head. Immediately you just want to know more about them because they're just so fleshed out. They're just perfect characters and the way they interact with each other is fantastic. When they get to this health retreat, it just, everything seems really normal. It isn't until halfway through the book that you start getting this feeling like something's off, but you can't really put your finger on it. Slowly builds until you get to the end of the book and finally everything is just revealed and you're just like, if you're looking for for a like really good psychological thriller that's like a slow buildup of suspense with just amazing characters, this was a 10 out of 10 book for me. The second thriller book I read, which was also a 10 out of 10 thriller book, was Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson. I discovered this book because of Emily over at Emily Fox Read. Her reading taste is literally identical to mine. Like, she loves thriller and fantasy, and she always has the best thriller recommendations. Her Every Fear. Okay, so this is the premise of this book, you guys. So we're following this main character, Kate Pretty, and she lives in London, and she is suffering from severe PTSD from her previous relationship. Her ex-boyfriend tried to kill her. I don't want to tell you the details of it. She's staying with her parents now, and her whole life has kind of just come to a halt, even though it's several months after this tragic event. Out of the blue, she finds out she has a cousin named Corbin who lives in Boston, who's kind of like a distant relative. He hears about her situation and offers to switch apartments with her for 6 months. She decides it's exactly the change up she needs. She can even enroll in college classes, and it just seems like it's like the perfect thing, right? 2 days after she gets to the apartment, she finds out that the girl next door has gone missing, which she later finds out she was murdered. This poor girl, you know, who's still traumatized from her boyfriend trying to kill her now, is wrapped up in this murder case, and her cousin might be involved, and there's all these other characters. This book is the complete opposite of 9 Perfect Strangers. Every chapter, it's just like super fast paced, like you're left on a cliffhanger on every chapter. And I feel like the title is so perfect because every sort of horror story situation a woman can think of involving like stalkers and just crazy ex-boyfriends and, you know, just crazy men in general, it happens in this book, and it's terrifying, and I did not sleep for like 3 days. Real quick, I almost forgot, I want to put a trigger warning out for the first book because it does talk about suicide and eating disorders. Continuing on with the thriller theme, I got halfway through the audiobook of Final Girls by Riley Sager. I know a lot of people have been experiencing this, but I use the audiobook app Scribd, which is basically like an unlimited app, but really it's not kind of unlimited. They take books off your list if you have too many. The book disappeared for like 2 weeks, so I had to stop reading it and pick up something else. 2 days ago, it was put back on my list. We're following this main character named Quincy. Now, 10 years before, like when the book takes place, she was in college and she went on a trip with 5 of her friends. There was a mass killing and she was the only girl who survived, or the final girl. Later on, the media deemed her a final girl, which is sort of this club that the media created for girls who survived like mass killings. There's also 2 other final girls, a girl who survived a sorority killing and a girl who survived a diner killing. Quincy has never met the 2 other final girls until one of the final girls ends up being found dead. At first they think it's a suicide, but as the case goes on, they realize there might be a bigger plot involved and it may have been a murder. That's all I want to say because the book is so good. Like I said, I'm only halfway through the book, so I can't give it a rating or anything, but I do plan on finishing it. Anyways, those are all the books that I read this month. I know it's only a few. Until next time, keep reading, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!